Dynamite. Merry Christmas. Merry freaking Christmas. I hope each and every one of you had a phenomenal Christmas. I had such a good Christmas. I lost my voice. So if I sound different, just know I was hooting and hollering and winning in cribbage so dang hard this past weekend over Christmas, I lost my voice. But that's okay. Dynamite. Now, obviously, Christmas is not all about presents. In my eyes, it's more about recognizing what the holiday means, spending time with family and friends, and just relaxing and spending quality time, which result in a lot of memories. But we are going to talk about some cool gadgets and kind of some presents that I gave Stephanie and Stephanie gave me, and it's going to change. It's going to change how I ice fish. Definitely going to change how I ice fish. So first on the list is this plate right here. For years I've ran the K-drill. I love this bad boy. It's light as heck, but I don't know if it's the newer Milwaukee models. This drill right here, they used to have a bar for like mixing mud, and mine just kept breaking off. So I was using it without the bar, and I felt like I was gonna break my dang wrist until Stephanie bought me this plate. We'll touch more on that later. It's pretty windy out here. Let's get our things together and head up to the HQ. Then we'll talk some more. Sound like a deal? All right, come on. Oh, it's windy. It's definitely windy out, but it's gorgeous. For like 4 or 5 days, it was anywhere from -17 to -30. And the next 5 days look like 30s. So, yeah, them fish are gonna bite. Okay, so like we said before, Christmas is so much more than just gifting and receiving presents, but I'm gonna show you a few today that I gifted and I received, and I think I'm just showing you because I'm excited about them. One of my favorite things to do on Christmas, bar none, with my family is play a bunch of cribbage. We play so much cribbage, and it's just so cutthroat competitive that we really get into it, and it's a blast. So this is one cool gift I got my mom and dad this year. Vexilar came out with a cribbage board, the FLX 29. And if you know anything about cribbage, you know 29 is the biggest hand. So it's a pretty sweet board. The pegs come right here on the side. And like my mom and dad found out the hard way this weekend, you could get a new cribbage board, you could try really hard, practice up, but still you'll never, ever, ever, ever beat the champ. That's me.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. God bless.
Currently, I've just been binging cribbage, but there's a lot of awesome card games out there, and I know there's a bunch of different traditions probably you and your family have, so please comment them down below. Stephanie, my girlfriend, she knows how to play like every card game in the world. But on a completely different note, there's one tradition we do every single year, and this was just not my year for that tradition, but I absolutely love it. So over the course of the fall, we keep track of, you know, how many deer we kill or who killed the deer, where they killed it, and my mom sets up like basically this deer heaven, almost like, you know, a winter scene like you've seen many old people set up before in their homes, except it's all deer. And each one of those deer represent a deer from a different year that maybe my dad shot or I shot or Stephanie shot or my mom got. So it's a really, really cool deal. The only problem is I didn't shoot a deer this year. My dad killed 2 and Stephanie killed 2. So while they opened up their 2 new deer ornaments each, my mom packaged me an ornament, and it was just a guy sitting there with binoculars, and everyone was just giving me a hard time how I'm just a deer watcher. So I know, life is humbling. Even Christmas morning at the Sobi, life will just humble you with an ornament. All right, but enough shenanigans. Let's talk some tech. Let's talk some actual gear. I'm really excited about the rods I got Stephanie. I'll kind of show you each and every one of those. And then there's a couple new techie things. I guess they're not new, but new to Stephanie that I got her. And I'm excited to show you how this coincides with this, how it coincides with this. This is a Christmas present from Steph and myself, to Steph and myself, and we are excited to use it. Forward-facing sonar obviously is an incredible tool, but I have some strong opinions on how to use it, when not to use it, and this is not a replacement for my Vexilar, just like this is not a replacement for my underwater camera, just like my underwater camera is not a replacement for my Vexilar or the forward-facing sonar Mega Live. So it's, in the coming weeks, I'm gonna really show you how my pals and I have been utilizing forward-facing sonar with our Vexilars, with our underwater cameras, kind of all at the same time, on the same lake, the same day. And obviously I know you do not need all this electronics to go out and enjoy some time ice fishing, but they are pretty cool, and I'd like to do a better job in the future at kind of showing how fish are reacting on the Vexilar, the underwater camera, and now the Mega Live, because they're all a separate tool. They all have pros, they all have cons. We won't get into everything now. I'm going to show you more on the ice in later videos, but they're a tool. They all do something a little bit different, and they're all very important if you let them be. Okay, so this is my Vexilar, and this is Stephanie's Vexilar. And I got her a gadget this year that I'm really excited about, and I know she is too. At first glance, one's a Pro Pack, one's an Ultra Pack, and they're pretty comparable, right? They're both FLX 30s, but one has a tiny gadget on it and one doesn't. And if you've heard of this before, you probably own one. It doesn't matter what kind of unit you like. This is a gift you could get anybody. Or if you got gift cards for Christmas, this is something I definitely pick up. It's the Vexilar Glow Ring. If you do a lot of fishing at evening or at night, it's so easy just to pull your jig out of the ice hole, dip it into this tiny ring, which is loaded with these LED infrared lights, and glow your jig up really quick. Boom, you're back down your hole. You don't have to worry about bringing a little flashlight or your phone light. I'll give you a little bit better look at it if you couldn't see it too well. But this is how easy these glow rings, especially the Vexilars, are to install. Boom, you just snap it in. There it is. And you plug it right into your charging port. Let's see if it's on, and then boom. And like you know, Vexilars have really good batteries. They don't draw a lot of power, so these glow lights in your Vexilar can run for days and days and days. It doesn't draw it down. Vexilars don't draw a ton of power in general, which is a huge benefit because you don't have to charge them for a couple days and you can fish all dang day. But all right, so these are my personal rods. I've basically been using day in and day out all year long. 30-inch straight drop noodle, great noodle rod. 27-inch medium light katana with a spring bobber, great rod. And then this is the 30-inch katana noodle. And then I think I've also been using the straight drop ultralight spring bobber rod. That's in this kind of line of Clam's rods. So like any good boyfriend would do, I showered Stephanie in rods that I don't currently own so that I can test them myself. I know, I'm a sweetheart, really. It's just, and Steph was really excited about this because she's used a lot of my gear in the past, but she's never owned a full line of ice rods for herself. So I was excited to get them for her. And like I said, these are her rods, and I'm not gonna touch them if she is around, but if she's not around, I'm gonna play with them all. So I had to get her a matching katana noodle, 30-inch. This is such a freaking nice noodle rod. Doesn't matter if you're fishing gills, perch, crappies. It's extremely soft. It bends fairly true. You can kind of see where the backbone meets the noodle part of the rod. And it's a quality rod. I've been loving it, so I knew she'd like that. and she'd probably be mad if I didn't get her one noodle rod. That's what we've been using for years, noodle rods. Another rod I got her was also another one that matched mine. This is this 27-inch medium light katana spring bobber rod. I don't know about her, but I've been really getting into spring bobber rods the past couple years, and I feel like you just detect way more bites. And this medium light is actually stout enough to kind of handle your smaller spoons, and the spring is short enough that the spring just doesn't absolutely droop even when you have small spoons on. So this is a really diverse rod, great for gills and crappies, and probably perch. Here's some new ones that I got her that I'm excited to try too. Just like that one, this is the 27-inch ultralight katana, and it's just a much lighter rod. It's basically the same thing as that, just the overall blank is much lighter. And I think this will be good for just using tiny little jigs. If those gills get really finicky, this rod can withstand just a tiny, tiny little tungsten jig, and it obviously has the spring bobber to see the light bites, and then bam. It's got a very true bend, so you'll be fighting the whole bluegill on the whole rod. All right, last rod I got her. I don't know if she's gonna like it, but I think it's really cool. We do a lot of fishing inside the portable shack and our hard house come, I don't know, later January, February. This is the 22-inch ultralight straight drop by Clam, and it's just a tiny little stick. If you can see this, obviously great for panfish. And come later in the year, like January, February, temperatures get brutal cold. We do a lot of jigging inside the shack or inside the hard house. So I thought this rod would be perfect for, we've got this table in our wheelhouse, and we play a lot of cards, cribbage, BS there, and the hole is extremely close to, I guess, the table. So if you have a long rod, like jigging out of the hole that's closest to you is almost like impossible. You almost have to like lay the rod down and just jig with your finger, or set a bucket or a chair up in the middle of our hard house to be efficient with that rod. But this little bad boy, I could be sitting right here, or Steph can be sitting right here. This is her rod, but if she likes it, I might have to get one. Steph can be sitting right here playing cribbage with me, and then with this tiny little rod, just be jigging in this corner hole of our fish house. I'll show you more once we get the hard house out, how I think this rod's gonna be bad to the bone, but I'll link all those rods down below. She had an awesome Christmas, and she's definitely excited to fish in the hard house soon. All right, I know you saw me playing with this out in the lake just a minute ago, but I'm extremely excited about this. Steph got this for me, and it was very kind of her. It's the Clam plate, and it was exactly what I needed. I don't know how well you can see that here, but this Milwaukee Fuel, like the mud mixing handle that came off of it, it was just constantly ripping off this Milwaukee Fuel. And that's not a total shot at Milwaukee. These drills probably weren't designed to just be ice augers, but that's what I mainly use them for. And just the wear and the tear last year wore it down, and I can't use that handle anymore. So she got me this plate. There's a little K-drill sleeve that she got with it, and then I can just switch out bits if I want to go from the 6-inch to the 7.5-inch. But it doesn't bump the weight up too much. Very easy, very accessible, still very light. And one thing I like about it too, besides just not breaking my wrists, is it keeps the battery off the ground if I'm setting down the auger and I'm gonna hole hop a little bit. So just this right here, when you place it on the ice, I know you wouldn't think it makes that big of a difference, but if you lay these batteries on the ice, over time they get cold, especially on those really cold days, and it's like you could have pretty near a full charge battery go dead pretty quick just because it was laying on the cold ice. So I like how it keeps it off the ice, and then obviously I can drill holes now, Steph can drill holes, nobody's worried about breaking their wrists. All right, time for what I think is probably my favorite gift all year long. And it just goes on my car keys. I don't know how well you can see that there, but this is a morel mushroom. Not a real one. This is a morel mushroom carved out of a deer antler. And I don't exactly know where my mom and my dad were at, but when they found this, they got Steph one and they got me one. And it's incredible how realistic it looks. And it's extremely cool. It's whittled out of like deer antler, because obviously we hunt too. But this is probably the weirdest hobby Steph and I have, is just going out in the spring looking for morels. But it's so fun because you don't know if you're going to be hero or zero. You don't know if it's going to be a good year or a bad year. You don't know exactly where you're going to find them. and they're extremely delicious. So Steph and I are absolute morel mushroom freaks, and this cool little keychain that looks exactly like one, I love it. And it's a deer antler. Obviously it's fun receiving gifts, but it's way more fun when you find a gift that's meaningful. It doesn't matter about the price tag. It can be simple as a keychain. When you find a gift that means something to that person and totally nail it, that's when gift giving is fun. And I think my mom wins this year. This is my favorite freaking gift, bar none. All right, last and definitely not least, this is something that Steph and I are extremely excited to try out. And obviously this piece of equipment is a large investment, but as far as shooting videos and showing you guys how forward-facing sonar, a Vexilar, an underwater camera, and a lot of other tools come into play to breaking down water and finding fish, I needed one. I needed a Mega Live. I've heard amazing reviews about these. They're obviously extremely clear. And if you have no idea what this is, like I told you, I'll explain more about this later. The Humminbird Mega Live, it's forward-facing sonar. It's live imaging. And instead of your Vexilar transducer or traditional sonar, which always points down, this transducer is adjustable and can be shot forward. So when you put it in the water, you can spin it around and you can get live feedback of what's basically around you in a 100 to 200 yard circle directly around the one hole that you drilled. So it's going to be an incredible tool to break down water. And like I said, ice fishing is not like open water fishing. To catch a fish ice fishing, it still has to come in that 6 to 8 inch hole directly under your feet. So what this is, at least to me, is this is a search tool. Because it is clunky, it's big, it has a big long rod with it, the bundle is fairly heavy, and it's a large piece of equipment. So how I'm gonna best utilize this is with myself or buddies, you drill a hole, you put it down, you shoot that live imaging all around, you pick up schools of fish or bait or weeds on that Mega Live, and then you determine how far away it is, you drill a bunch of holes, and then get right on top of them with the Vexilar. This is going to be the 1-2 punch the rest of this winter, and I'm so excited to film more on-screen sonar for you guys. Whether that's on the Vexilar, the Mega Live, the underwater camera, I would like to show how fish are behaving and what I'm seeing, more so than the rod just bending. That's something I've wanted to do a long time, and many of you have asked for that in the comment section, so it's going to be great. I'm really excited. Yeah. Those are just some cool gifts and traditions that happened to us this past weekend, and I hope each and every one of you had a phenomenal Christmas. Like I said, I wanted to show you kind of some of the new rods. I got Steph and some small gadgets like the glow ring, because hopefully this generates ideas if you guys still want to give some gifts throughout this holiday season, or if you have gift cards, or if you're just kind of trying to revamp your ice fishing gear. This is some of my favorite stuff, so I'm just sharing it with you. I appreciate it. So much cool fishing is yet to come. Later this week, I'm going ice fishing out of a freaking hovercraft, and that's all I got to say about that. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. I guess there's nothing left to be said than stay tuned, and as always, let the adventure begin. See ya.
Move ahead, oh my pretty babe. Something ain't right. Got to find a way to move ahead.